On Sunday, former President Donald Trump proposed what many online are calling a purge day to stop crime.
You know, if you had one day, like one real rough, nasty day with the drugstores as an example, where when they start walking out with, you know, she created something in San Francisco, $950 you're allowed to steal. Anything above that, you will be prosecuted. Well, it works out that the 950 is a misnomer because you can steal whatever you want, you can go way above. But you'd see, originally you saw kids walk in with calculators. They were calculating. They didn't want to go over the $950. They're standing with calculators, adding it up. You know, these are smart people. They're not so stupid, but they have to be taught. Now, if you had one really violent day, like a guy like Mike Kelly, put him in charge, Congressman Kelly, put him in charge for one day. Mike, would you say, he's right here, he's a great congressman. Would you say, Mike, that if you were in charge, you would say, oh, please, don't touch them, let them rob your store. All these stores go out of business, right? They don't pay rent, the city doesn't have, it's a chain of events, it's so bad. One rough hour, and I mean real rough, the word will get out, and it will end immediately. End immediately.
Just one rough hour of just, you know, state-sanctioned violence, and then it'll end immediately. You know why? Because it was never real to begin with. You can't just go and steal anything under $950. That's not what the law says, okay? That law is actually a shoplifting law, and what happens if you get caught stealing under $950 worth of merchandise? Well, it's punishable by up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. So actually, it just reclassified burglary, right? If you're stealing from a store, for example, it reclassifies it from burglary to shoplifting and is classified as a misdemeanor instead of a felony. And so it's one of their ways of trying to, like, hey, okay, we're going to create a special, you know, class of crime, which is still a crime, still punishable, for anything that's under $950. So that's one way that California actually tried to reform some of their laws so that they're a little less draconian, and yet still deter things like shoplifting and things like that. So he's absolutely wrong about that. You can't just go into a store and steal anything, okay? And he's even like, oh yeah, well you can steal whatever you want because you can go way above it. No, you can't. I mean, okay, to be fair, there is one type of theft that is absolutely legal in this country, and that's when a billionaire like yourself, Trump, goes and bankrupts a company and then, you know, jumps out of the, you know, not literally, but metaphorically jumps out of the collapsing building with a golden parachute. You know, that's totally legal, apparently. Or at least enough people get away with it. So why don't you focus on that kind of crime? Why don't you focus on the real crime, which is wage theft? That's bigger than any of the retail theft. That's more money than any of the retail theft that occurs in this country. So I'm just saying, why don't you actually go after the real criminals? Oh, right, that would be, you know, billionaires, corporate heads, CEOs, things like that. Can't do that. Oh no.
Can't let that happen.
All right. But anyway, so now getting to the response to this. A lot of people are labeling this as like, oh, it's like the movie The Purge. Well, no, it's actually worse. Okay? It is actually worse, but I get it, right? But The Purge was actually the population against itself, right? This, Trump's plan, would be allowing the police to do state-sponsored violence as much as they want to, well, you know, criminals, right? Petty criminals, perhaps, yes. But mainly it's just going to be against minorities that they may be assuming are up to no good. You know, because those assumptions, right? They're going to see black people being black and do violence against them. That's what's going to happen. How many times have we seen, for example, police, okay, being called on a black person for, oh, they're breaking into a car, and it turns out it's their own car. Yeah, they're trying to get into their own car. and the cops get called on them and they get arrested for it. Or their own houses, or just being in their own yard, okay? Still getting, arrested. Oh, he was, this black guy, it was by the window. It's his own window. Or he's trying to get to his yard. Again, they end up getting arrested and in a lot of cases released because there was no crime. Of course, police usually tend to make up something like, it was resisting arrest. That's because it was an illegal arrest. Imagine now you have Trump's scenario where police unshackled, okay? Go ahead and just, if you think somebody's doing a crime, go after them, real nasty like. Well, you're going to end up having innocent people who are black and Latino being targeted, beaten, and killed over sometimes, again, they're innocent, trying to get into their own car, trying to get into their own house, whatever, or just being at the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong skin color, being killed. And there will be no recourse. As if there's a lot of recourse that happens today, but Trump be like, oh, no recourse whatsoever. Yeah, we'll just let you do it. Oh, yeah, be a violent day. Be a violent day. Yeah. It'd be violent because cops would immediately target black and Latino people, Americans, regardless of if they did a crime. All they would need is the assumption, and that assumption is, well, you're black, you must have done something. You can see how this is incredibly dangerous rhetoric, okay? It would be bad enough if it was the plot of the Purge. But no, this is worse. This is state-sponsored and enacted violence on a massive scale. It would be more like a Kristallnacht, right? Which was a pogrom against Jews carried out by the Nazi Party's SA and SS paramilitary forces, along with some of the participation from the Hitler Youth and German civilians. Now, this would be a bit different, but more like that. That said, during Kristallnacht, the authorities sat back. In this case, in Trump, what makes his idea worse than both of these things is that the authorities would actively be involved in targeting certain people. Again, there are a lot of oath keepers and white nationalists who happen to be in the police who can't wait to be given complete freedom to go after anyone who happens to not be white. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.